Would you say most of the kids in your class use it, both in high school and in this?
Yes.
Yeah.
For me personally, I take one of my classes right now is business communications, and my professor talks about it a lot, that like a lot of students use AI to write like papers and stuff, and like one student literally forgot to erase the part where AI said, I wrote this for you for this subject. So then she had to like send that to her dean and stuff. But it's like really affecting a lot of like work that's being submitted because people want to take like the easy way out of things.
Oh my God, that sounds so lazy. So someone literally just copied.
Yeah.
I think it's making cheating a bit more accessible. It's making it like a faster paced thing, because when I was in high school and I would cheat on things, it would be more like you'd have to really look for the answers to stuff. Like, obviously that's not necessarily better. Cheating isn't helping anyone but yourself, which in the long run it isn't. But it was more like you had to like really search for the answers and figure it out. But now it's kind of just you plug in a question and it just gives you like a world of answers like at your fingertips, which in the right context can be really helpful. A lot of scientists are using AI for really helpful things. If you're interested in a subject, you can use ChatGPT to find out a whole lot of new things that you didn't even know you had a question for in the first place. So I think that is really cool, and AI can be used for a lot of good things, but I've also noticed it being used for a lot of bad things.
Start using a machine to do all your thinking for you, you're going to lose the ability to think, which is very, very concerning. You need to be able to think about what's going on, be able to like reach conclusions by yourself and that kind of thing. So that worries me.
And how do you feel like about the difference between, for example, AI and just like the internet? Because it feels like just like having everybody having smartphones, like even before AI was a thing. Already I think there's kind of risks of people just Googling everything.
I think with that is like you could look up information, but with AI, but you would see like all the information about that topic. Whereas with AI, it like hand feeds you like specific information instead of giving you more of a full picture. So you get a very limited view because AI is saying, no, we analyzed it, like this is what you need to see, rather than being able to see more of like the whole kind of picture.
It can be seen as something that's going to make you dumber, because you're just going directly to the source, but it also is teaching you so much at the same time. You know?
Yeah. Oh, so in some ways, how you're thinking maybe actually paradoxically might make people smarter because people have more access to so many much more information.
Yeah, people don't really know how to feel it. Just like me, I think I have a very in between. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because it's just about how you use it, right? If you're using it to cheat, I don't think it's right. If you're using it just to get a better understanding of something, then I think it's okay. But it shouldn't be used as like writing your essays and da-da-da. It can ask questions how to improve your essay. Yeah. But it shouldn't be a whole copy and paste situation.
AI isn't really full of original thought. What it mainly does is just like regurgitate ideas that are already out there. And it doesn't even do so in a great manner. So I mean, it's good for like fact checking your stuff and maybe hearing counter arguments. But in terms of like formulating ideas, I would never really recommend it. I would use it like if I'm writing something, or like I would, propose my ideas and then see if it had any counters to those ideas so that I could strengthen my arguments. But in terms of like letting it form my argument for me, I would probably never do that, because I just don't think it's that capable of like extrapolating out its thoughts and principles and like seeing if they're consistent. I don't think it's really good at that.
And do you think that could get better? Do you think it's just in how it's built? Like it's not just...
Maybe. I mean, at the same time, though, whenever you ask it like simple, broad questions, it's just kind of regurgitating like what people generally say about a topic. And since a lot of the time that isn't necessarily consistent, it's never going to give you like the best answer on like an opinion-based, I guess, or idea-based like goal. It'll give you like, if you ask it like a simple math question or like, a simple question about science, then yeah, I could probably give you the right answer. But in terms of like a question where you have to come up with an original thought, I don't think it's that good of it.
Like, because you feel like it's bad at like it's sorting through different information, but it does a bad job at seeing what's accurate and not.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just grouping a bunch of information and then displaying it to you, but it's not capable of like coming up with an idea itself.
And what would you say about someone who would say, well, isn't that kind of how humans kind of approach like creative thought? Like the like part of creativity is we take some information that we've seen from here, and then we amalgam it together in a new way. Like,
kind of, but I think we're better at extrapolation. So like if I give you, if I tell you like a principle or like I make a statement, humans could take that statement and apply it to a whole like barrage of different things that you should believe from said statement. I don't think AI is good at doing that. I think it'll fall into some circular reasoning. So like, if I'm trying to think of a good example for this. If I say a statement or something like the environment should be protected, as a human, you could probably extrapolate a bunch of other things that I believe from that statement, given what I just did. But I don't think AI can do that. I don't think it can push things like their maximum logical consistency in a way that's consistent. Like if I said I love the environment, you could probably also assume that like, okay, this is someone who enjoys outdoor activities. They probably believe that climate change is real and a serious issue. They're probably more left-leaning. They're probably this, that, and this. I don't think AI is necessarily capable of doing that kind of thing, where they can extrapolate a baseline principle. It's because humans do share some kind of like, we do have shared intuitions about what we think about the world. Like we have shared values. And AI doesn't share that with us, so they can't push them.
Do you think there would be a way to program, because obviously we kind of can give AI some values, can program it in, like can tell AI to value this or not? Like, do you think that's possible, or would you be worried about the bias inherent in that? Or?
Maybe. I mean, there's always going to be bias, right? I don't think you can ever make, like, if you want something to achieve thought, it has to be biased to a certain extent, because everything is biased. But I don't necessarily know if I'd be worried about it. I mean, it'd be interesting to see. I don't know if AI will ever get to the point where it's capable of replicating, like, actual human thought, because I think that requires, like, a conscious experience.
So that's, like, your civil engineering is what's going to be, like, building your buildings and everything.
Yeah.
Mechanical engineering is definitely the broadest. That could be from like working with the military to like my cousin works with like water jet machine parts and like works on machining parts. So it's a super broad category.
Yeah, that seems like the kind of thing. Also, I guess it still is. I'm thinking it seems like the kind of thing that would still be needed even with AI. Although I guess there's still.
But I mean, the design and like the CAD part of it could be eliminated with AI. I mean, if I can tell you what I want in words, and you can create a 3D render, and everything's exactly what I wanted.
That seems like everything that can be done with a computer can basically be done with AI, which is a little scary.
Like, I mean, I work in the construction field, so that's not exactly threatened, but when you're looking at like engineers, computer scientists, my girlfriend's a computer scientist, and she's like, what do you do when you have a software that's now writing all your code for you, fixing all your problems?
I want to be a personal assistant. So it's like you could just submit your schedule to AI and they can make a perfect planner for you. But then like a little thing that I am like hopeful for is that when it comes to being a personal assistant, you have that connection with your boss or your superior and like the people around you. So like hopefully that will like still need to maintain in an office. But yeah.
I would say I'm not too sure. Maybe not. Only because like with sociology, it's like a lot of research based. And yeah, AI could help, but like at the end of the day, you still need a human being to really like differentiate like the research and certain topics and the key aspects of what you really need.
For me, it's just like a scary reality to think that like the next doctors and neurosurgeons are using AI right now. You know, it's like it's kind of scary to think that you're gonna go into a doctor's office with this kid that like graduated with like high grades because they had the help of AI. You know.
Yeah. I guess what I'm wondering is like in your scenario of like the AI doctor, like what if like AI is actually a better doctor than him? So he's just relying on AI, but actually like cures people better than if he just was using his brain.
It's not human. So it takes the human connection of human, you know? Like no one, like, sure, I could try to have the conversations I have with my therapist with AI, but that's not the same because it's human. It's not human, you know? Like,
they're not. It's weird because we crave a human connection, and that's why I think we find this AI thing so disturbing. Yeah, because connection is so important, you know?
Human touch.
Yeah. And just relying on just facts sometimes is tough because nobody wants to really know all the facts. I don't know what I'm saying.
Do you think that into futures potentially could make actually good music? Or do you kind of think that everything that no, not really?
I think it could because AI learns from, like, if as one human being you only know as much as you know, whereas AI can learn from hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of songs. So like theoretically, like one regular human could never compete with it. But I think it totally could make good music. It could do good things, but I think you lose that when you lose that human aspect of it. It's like, what's the point of doing, of listening to music, of existing pretty much.
Yeah, it does seem weird with art because it seems like part of the point is like actually is the process of doing it.
Like when you think about it, because like AI is not just also for answering questions. Like they'll try to do like a deep fake of someone, or like it's actually really scary to think about.
It feels like then you can't really tell what's true or what's fake.
Yeah.
After to see a video.
Yeah.
But that is really creepy.
And then like also with the older population, it's like because they're not as tech savvy as us, so they'll be like, "Oh my god, look at this," and you're like, "Bro, that's not real." Like, and they're like, "No, it is," and I'm like, "No, it's not," and they just like can't gauge it yet.
I mean, I think for like politically, it could be a great tool in terms of an unbiased, opinionated version of unbiased opinion of what's going on. It doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have empathy. It's not biased towards a specific group. Given it was grown up in that area, it's theoretically possible to have an unbiased governing. I mean,
Well, but it picks up on what people have said before, so it's not going to just like kind of parrots back.
well, I mean, there's always the chance that whoever designs the AI and whoever codes it could put whatever like twist they want on it. It could carry the beliefs and ethics of the coder or the writer.
And you were saying because you think almost like it's unemotional. Do you think that is kind of like a flaw in human decision making?
I think it can be. I think it has its place, and depends on the decision, depends on what you're questioning.
Do you think it's possible for AI to achieve at some level of consciousness, or how would you ever achieve
To
that?
create consciousness,
Yeah.
you could probably mirror it extremely well, but like creating consciousness, like I could never tell you the answer. That's such like a godlike, like I don't believe in God, but it's such a godlike question, or like feat, I guess, to create actual consciousness. And how would you know? Like, are you familiar with like ultimate skepticism?
Yes, like you can't really know if anybody else.
Yeah,
but
you don't really know if anyone else is conscious, but you're really good at replicating it. So I assume and I believe that you are actually having an experience, but I don't know that you are. You know what I mean? And I feel like it'd become the same thing with AI, where you can never really know if it's actually having a conscious experience. They're just really good at mirroring what other people have.
I feel like that could also be an issue of people kind of thinking they have connection with AI, or do you see like people who are like talk to AI?
Yeah, I mean, I've used AI a bunch of for I'll have like whenever I have an idea or something, I'll run it by AI to make sure like if I can try and flesh it out a little bit more. And I mean, you do to a certain extent, I guess, like develop a rapport. Like I feel like it would be weird for you if AI gives you a weird answer, like to like cuss it out, right? You wouldn't really do that. You kind of treat it like a normal person. Like I even know people who say like please at the end of their sentences on AI. Like when something is good at replicating how humans speak, you kind of naturally like give it some level of respect, I think. And I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I'm sure it could become unhealthy to a certain point, but I feel like it's normal.
Yeah, but are you concerned that it might get so good that people might just at a certain point just like lose the interest in human connection, because it's in some ways like an easier way to get connection, like with less friction, because it often just repeats back what you want to hear?
I don't know. Like I've heard the arguments of like internet and stuff, like even like video games reduce human connection, but I don't know if that's true. I feel like whenever you have like I feel like people do value actual human connection more than like AI or even like video game stuff. Like even when you get on a video game, it's far more fun to play a video game with your friends when you're talking to other people. When you're doing homework together, it's fun to do that with other people. And I don't think AI could necessarily replicate that human connection, because also it doesn't really have the ability to challenge you. It's always going to, at the end of the day, do what you want and agree with what you want. And to a certain extent, I think part of being human is like disagreeing with people. And I don't think AI is really capable of that.
Like it hasn't been around that long at all, so we don't even understand yet like what the long-term kind of implications of it could be. So I think like at least at the time being, kind of limiting it as much as possible, until like we understand kind of what's actually going on and like what people could potentially use it for would be better, because you can't make policies about something that you don't even understand.
And what are you already thinking of majoring in? You're saying you're undecided. Undecided. You're not sure at all, or no?
That's ChatGPT.